We're back in, folks, from the break with my number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and we're now going to get into this Crimson Tide defense, and one that I feel like people are sleeping on. People are not paying much attention, or not necessarily that. People are not expecting, I'll use that word, they're not expecting big things here from this defense. If you go around and you poll individuals out there, their thoughts have become, defense is all right, but I'm more so interested in what the offense does. I'm more so concerned about what does Bill O'Brien do with Bryce Young? Does he develop him the right way? Does he mold him the right way? Does he craft him the right way? Does Bryce Young go out there and really, truly have a huge first year as a starting quarterback? What did the wide receivers look like? What does the offensive line look like? The running back room, what becomes of that area? So, more people are like, defense, that's cool and everything, but my focus is more so on what does the offense look like. And for me, true, you want to see Bill O'Brien do right by Bryce Young. You want to see O'Brien mold him, develop him, craft him, prepare him to be an elite level quarterback in the SEC, especially in his first year starting. You want to see the running back room have success. You want to see the wide receivers break out and be something special. You want to see the offensive line dominate and try to defend its crown and being a Joe Moore award-winning group. But at the same time, you can't sleep on and not expect, huge things here from this Alabama defense. And the reason why I say this is going back to the spring, Coach Saban was very high on this group. He was very jubilant about this group all spring, talking of multiple players from this defense, including one, Jaquincy Kool-Aid McKinstry. For the first time in a while, Saban walked around the field. Saban entered press conferences. Saban was just very much so upbeat about what he's got on that side of the ball. He knows he's got a group that can be an elite group, and he expects it to be an elite group. Now, along with people not having the high expectations for the defense, we are also seeing different websites really not give the utmost respect to these Bama guys. And for me, I don't know if Pro Football Focus does this stuff off hot takes. I don't know how they do this stuff, but the last couple of graphics that this site has put out, as they're in a series, top 5 returning at each position in college football, but the last two defensive graphics that they've put out, it has really rubbed you, the Bama Nation, the wrong way, and also it's rubbed a couple of the Alabama players the wrong way, and it's provided fuel to the fire. It's added major motivation. I think this defense is going to go stone crazy in the upcoming season. Now, the first graphic it put out, or one of the first graphics it put out defensively, was the top 5 edge rushers returning to college football. And it did not have Will Anderson or Chris Allen named on that graphic. And upon that graphic coming out, you had fans going, okay, did Chris Allen and Will Anderson die? Did they drop off the face of the earth? You had players like DeMarco Hellams and Malachi Moore and Chris Owens saying, did Will Anderson and Chris Allen, did they go pro? Did they stop playing football? Did they just quit? Like, are they no longer a part of the NCAA? Like, you had fans and players like really going after Pro Football Focus for doing this, and this causes Allen and Anderson, they're going to be dropping quarterbacks to the ground at will in the upcoming season. Now, going back to last year, and we've talked about this, Anderson had 7 sacks a season ago, 10 and a half tackles for loss. He had, 60 quarterback pressures there. If he would have finished on a lot of those plays early on in the season, and I know he was still trying to adjust because, with COVID, the guys didn't have a spring, but if he would have finished on a lot of those plays he had early on in the season, the young man could have very easily had between 14 and 18 sacks a season ago. So to have him back, experienced, getting stronger, getting faster, and him being left off this list, along with Chris Allen, who's going into his second year fully healthy. Last season, 6 sacks, 13.5 tackles for loss, led the SEC in that regard. And both of these two being left off of this list, both of these two are going to be harassing opposing quarterbacks at will. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. When PFF dropped its top returning linebackers, just the position as a whole, linebackers for the 2021 campaign, and it left off Christian Harris. Now, Harris has double the motivation because he's been overlooked, he's been undervalued, he's been disrespected twice. Not only is he getting the disrespect from PFF, but remember at the end of last season, the SEC put out the all SEC teams. Christian Harris did not make an all-SEC team. He wasn't named first team. He wasn't named second team. He wasn't named third team. And this is despite the massive production he has as a sophomore. We are discussing a brother who put up 79 tackles, 7.5 of those for loss, 4.5 sacks, 6 quarterback pressures, had a huge interception in the college football playoff semifinal, the Rose Bowl against Notre Dame. This is also somebody that put a big hit on Justin Fields in the national championship game against Ohio State and had that brother uncomfortable. This is also the same Christian Harris that got the sack, the clinching sack off Florida's Kyle Trask in the SEC championship game, helping Alabama win 52-46, and he was not named to an all-SEC team versus Dylan Moses, who did not have the greatest season in the world, but Dylan Moses still made first-team all-SEC. So Christian Harris being disrespected by his own conference and now being disrespected by Pro Football Focus, him not being on this list. I mean, I understand they got the young man from the Troy Trojans on here, and no disrespect to him, and they got other guys on this list, but Christian Harris, this is big motivation for C. Harris. I mean, he even responded to the tweet. He even responded to the post by sharing it on his page. If Harris did not respond to it, maybe this is not really much of a conversation. But because Harris responded to it, he knows the disrespect is high. He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. He understands the talk that's being done, not just to him, but to the defense that he is running, that he is orchestrating. And he ain't down with that. He is not down with that. So when you got PFF who leaving off Will Anderson and Chris Allen for the top 5 edge rushers, and then you got the same site leaving off Christian Harris as one of the top 5 linebackers returning to college football, and then you got the people out there not expecting Alabama's defense to be good. I understand it's a different age in college football. You got to score points. You got to score with people. You got to run with people. But at the same time, Nick Saban knows. He knows this is going to be one of the best defenses I've had here since I've been here. And he's had some great defenses since he's been here. But Saban very high on this defense. And among the leaders of that group, Christian Harris, Will Anderson, Chris Allen, all of these 3 being disrespected by PFF. And then when you look at the Alabama defensive secondary, looking forward to seeing what that group does as well.